What's something that's hated on way more than it should be?
Mr. Reddit.
Sitting idle. I hate it when it's labeled as wasting time. You need some time for your brain to slow off and just exist. It's not a crime.
My ex's father was particularly bad for this. He'd force his whole family, and I do mean force, he was emotionally abusive, to do non-urgent house chores simply to have them do things and not sit idle. I'm talking things like polishing stair banisters. Needless to say, wasn't his biggest fan.
My ex-partner was extremely bad about this. Living with him for so many years and internalizing shame for simply resting almost killed me when I had my first autoimmune flare-up. I'm still getting my brain and body back on track, 9 months later. I feel like I've hardly made any progress, and I'm still a skinny husk of myself. Stay away from people who criminalize rest because they are dangerous.
Changing your mind. People act like it's a sign of weakness, but it actually shows growth. Admitting you're wrong or seeing things differently is how you evolve, not something to be ashamed of.
The only man who can change his mind is the man who has one. Now, changing your mind should be because of new data and empirical, objective information, not because of some perceived inconvenience or receiving some unearned benefit.
The word moist. I think everyone hates it because the internet said to, 10 years ago.
It's kind of annoying how some people will insist you can't say it around them. Sometimes it's the best word to describe a delicious moist muffin.
I think people do shit like that because of the aesthetic of having weird quirks like that, and so they dress it up because they think it's funny, cutesy, and interesting. To me it comes off as inauthentic. I don't want to interact with someone who's acting and pretending to be someone they're not.
Other people's interests. People love to just hate things like they're a movie hero with a vengeance. My boy, it literally doesn't affect you, fucking chill.
Another part of this is being shocked that someone spends a lot of money on something. Just because you aren't interested in doesn't mean they're wasting their money.
Just had a conversation the other day where I said it's nice, but I'm not going to get $600 of enjoyment out of that. Sure, the fancy ring wasn't for me when I think about the games I could buy for that money, but someone else might wear that ring all over the place and feel really good about it. Someone else could get $600 enjoyment out of that, and that's not a waste of money.
A pet peeve of mine is people commenting, who has the time for that, about someone's hobby, interest, or craft. Well, Susan, people make time for what interests them. But please, continue griping about it while hosting your huge sports watch party that lasts 4 hours. Every week.
Sleeping in. People act like you're a useless member of society if you sleep past 10.
A buddy used to give me a ton of shit about this when I worked swing, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. I finally told him to imagine shifting your day forward 8 hours, that's why I sleep in. It clicked for him after that.
It's funny how something as simple as adjusting your day forward by 8 hours can totally change one's perspective. I remember working a night shift once and getting so much flack for sleeping in, but in reality, it was just about shifting the day like you said. It's all relative, wish more people understood that.
Man, do I wish my wife understood this. I'm currently at work right now, working a 12-hour shift that started at 6 p.m. I usually get home, shower, and crawl into bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock at the latest. I have 2 alarms set, one for 1 o'clock and the other for 1:15. According to her, if I wake up any later than that, I'm sleeping the day away. I actually get way less sleep on night shift, edit oof, I really didn't write this comment while rolling on the floor laughing. Talk about night shift clouding your brain. I'll make the edit and leave the original comment, but I didn't mean for it to sound like my wife is a slave driver. I will also add that going to bed around 8 is typically just for the school year to get my son on the bus. Otherwise, I'm asleep no later than 7:30. The other good thing about my schedule is I work 4 days of nights, off for 4 days, and then 4 days of daylight, all 12-hour shifts. Thus, it's not a constant stream of garbage sleep after working, and when I work over weekends, I can grab a little extra sleep when I need to. Basically, these comments were made shortly after I started this job. I still get them every once in a while, but nowhere near as much as back then. If I wake up after working a night and I need more sleep, she doesn't give me too much guff about it. There are times when I sleep longer, and she gets annoyed, but never mad or anything like that. Like I said in a response to someone else. There will be times I wake up at 11:30 or 12 o'clock and can't go back to sleep, so that's when my day starts.
People who choose not to drink who aren't recovering alcoholics or pregnant, people who do drink but have decided they don't feel like drinking that night. Their reasoning being they simply don't want to.
I cop so much crap on the nights I go out with friends and decide I don't feel like drinking. I'm not ruining the vibe either. I'm happy and upbeat. My normal drink is basically clear, so I've just taken to having a glass of soda water or something in my hand. They think it's alcohol, and not a word is said about how I'm ruining the vibe. It's stupid that I have to go to those lengths just to not drink.
I stopped drinking in February when I first tried edibles and realized, wait, my brain can take a little vacation without feeling like complete garbage. Despite this, my friends still make jokes about me being the group's drunk and try to coax me into drinking at special events despite me being uncomfortable about it. Not to mention that my alcoholic mother now shames me for taking edibles and ruining myself with weed. Vegetables. I think many who don't like vegetables grew up with parents who couldn't really cook, and ended up steaming everything. Sure, sometimes steamed vegetables can be nice, but eat that every day for your entire upbringing and you're likely going to end up hating vegetables. I had a guest who couldn't stand broccoli. When I served dinner, they noticed that my broccoli didn't look like the broccoli they were used to. I asked them to please try, and they very reluctantly had a small piece. Not as bad as I remember them. Another piece. This is actually pretty okay. Another piece. Damn, this is actually good. I had simply cut the broccoli into nice bouquets. I don't remember the correct term. Instead of just cutting the broccoli all willy-nilly, they're separated into nice flowers, so to speak, sprinkled some nice EVO over them, roasted them, and then some freshly cracked black pepper and sea salt.
Spiders. They eat things you don't want in your house. Try and leave them alone.
My wife and I lived in a shitty apt and one window had no screen, but a spider made a web that took up the entire window, literally the best screen we have ever had. That little guy kept all the bugs out, and if it got damaged, he fixed it right back up. Highly recommend, LOL.
A few years ago, I bought a few carnivorous plants to combat the fruit flies in my kitchen during the summer months. I quickly realized that this plan was flawed since the plants didn't get enough light where I needed them, so I moved them to the windowsill in my living room. Meanwhile, 2 spiders set up camp in my kitchen window. So in the end, I had a windowsill full of bug-eating plants in the living room and spiders in my kitchen and no insects in my apartment over the whole summer despite the windows being open the entire time.
We have some big fat spiders. When they fall/jump onto the floor, they make a faint, but audible thud that I find unpleasant. When I catch those spiders in a glass and slide cardboard under it to put it outside, you can hear it tap their legs against the glass and you can hear it skittering across the cardboard. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I also don't like it when the big fat spiders run towards me instead of away from me. I consider spiders running towards me misbehaving unless it's a jumping zebra spider. Jumping zebra spiders are tiny, adorable, super friendly, and they eat a massive amount of bugs.
Fast food workers. Most of y'all have no idea how hard we actually work, or how horribly y'all treat us for no reason whatsoever.
I sat in the drive-thru at McDonald's for 50 minutes a few weeks back. It got jammed up and there was no way to get out of line once you were in line. I got to the window and a little old lady just starts profusely apologizing, telling me how only her and one other lady had showed up to work. I can't even imagine the vitriol they probably had to deal with that day. And all for minimum wage when they should be retired. It's an ugly system. The lady at the next window serving the food looked so frazzled.
I feel this. I can't tell you how many times it's only been me and like 2 other workers. It's so taxing on the mind and body, but everyone wants their food instantly and pitch a fit when they don't have their $90 order 30 seconds after they order it.
Ugh. I was working KFC, and we're supposed to have a minimum 5-person crew at any given time. 2 of my staff called in 5 minutes before shift and a third no-called/no-showed. It was me and one girl with just over a month experience, all night, including supper rush. I was cook, prep, and taking most of the orders while she ran the window. We completely closed the front. Neither one of us got a break, and instead of getting G out at 10:30, she left at midnight. I finished at 1:30.
Never understood the hate. She's a normal person reacting to her normal husband suddenly becoming a drug lord. She has 2 kids with him, for God's sake. 1 newborn and 1 with special needs. She just came back to work, and her boss is an idiot. Somebody please give her a break. The hand job got a lot of hate, understandably, but things like that happen when you are married for a long time, and she was really pregnant at that moment. He didn't initiate anything interesting in the moment either. And that scene was necessary to contrast with passion he's got when he started making drugs.
Thank you all for watching. If you are interested, subscribe and watch other videos.